and thank you for joining us for today's webinar, Elevating Your Luxury Hotel Brand, Marketing Strategies for Success. I'm your host, Doug Logan. I am the president and co-founder of INOVＡT. We are a small and mighty digital agency that is passionate about helping hospitality brands reach more guests and tell their story better online. Earlier this year, we actually did a deep dive where we analyzed 50 high-end properties from resorts to ranches and wellness retreats and took a look at some of their tactics and techniques and strategies for reaching new guests online. We found out, of course, that paid search was dominating and most properties are using it. However, only 48% of the resorts we looked at were using Google hotel ads. Unsurprisingly, most properties are on Instagram, with 77% of them posting 3 or more times per week. That is a lot of selfies. And only 8% of properties that we looked at were on TikTok, something I think we'll talk about in a little bit. And if you want to get your hands on that report and learn more helpful tips and tricks, go to inovate.com/ILHA to get that for free. But enough about me and enough about that report. I am joined by some really smart people in the marketing world, and I am excited to introduce them to you. So let's start off with Meaghan. Meaghan, tell us all about the great things you're doing over there at SENSEI.
Thanks, Doug. I'm Meaghan Carlson. I'm the Vice President of Brand and Marketing at SENSEI. SENSEI is a luxury wellness hospitality company. We aim to create spaces where people and experiences for people to come and learn healthier lifestyle practices. Today, we have 2 properties, the first of which we partnered with Four Seasons for SENSEI Lanai, a Four Seasons resort in Hawaii. It's a beautiful mountain resort in the Hawaiian uplands, and SENSEI Porcupine Creek, which is in Greater Palm Springs, California.
Awesome. I'm relaxed already. Chad, tell us about yourself and everything over there at the resort at PAWS Up.
Thank you, Doug. Pleasure to be here with all of you. My name is Chad Taylor. I'm the Vice President of Marketing at the resort at PAWS Up in Greeno, Montana, the Blackfoot Valley, just east of Missoula. We have the resort at PAWS Up itself, also contains another property called the Greeno, and combined those properties have 28 luxury vacation homes, 36 glamping tents, and 12 adults-only houses, each with unique architectural touches. Offer over 70 different kinds of outdoor adventure and activities in the Montana wilderness. The resorts are set on 37,000 acres, so there is plenty of room for our guests to roam and explore the wilds of Montana. And again, grateful to be here.
Thanks for joining us. And last but not least, Agita, tell us what you're doing over there at JF Social.
Hi, everyone. My name is Agita Jeeber, and I'm president of JF Social. So that's a social media agency that specializes only in hospitality clients. We have offices in Florida and in New York. Our agency is run by 2 seasoned CPAs, so we really understand the language of numbers as well as power of social media. And so with JF Social, you don't really just get likes and shares, you get really measurable results.
Wonderful. Well, let's just dive right in here. I think the first topic that I'd like to talk about really is leveraging digital channels. And obviously, I talked a little bit earlier about the plethora of properties using paid search. And I think it was 91% of resorts are using paid search on Google, but only 48% of them are using hotel ads. Obviously, hotels themselves are using it a lot more, but I'm curious as to your thoughts. Meaghan, are you guys using hotel ads over there, and why or why not?
Yeah, absolutely. So we use both. We do use Google hotel ads. Paid search on Google is obviously a large component of our paid advertising strategy. But I think, for a brand like SENSEI, which is not only trying to reach the luxury consumer, but also those that are interested in wellness. We really have to kind of look at a combination of demographics while layering in those psychographics that align with our experience, right? We have guests that come for 3, 5, 7 night stays. They're doing lots of spa treatments, one-on-ones with fitness practitioners and nutritionists. So we're all about kind of that full funnel approach to make sure that we're kind of reaching the right target audience for our experiences.
That sounds wonderful. I have a newborn baby girl, 2 weeks old, and I would love.
Congratulations.
That would sound great right about now. Chad, my baby might not be ready to go riding any horses over there, but what kind of tactics are you using from paid search or hotel ads over there at PAWS Up?
Yeah, Doug, we are using paid search. We have not started to use Google hotel ads yet, and we are going to test that. We've just been very hesitant over the years. It's not been part of our marketing mix to work with online travel agencies, the typical online travel agencies. So we've been a little shy about Google hotel ads, but it is something that we want to test and just measure results, see how fruitful that is for us. We've had great success with paid search. After organic search, paid search is our highest converting audience channel, and we continue to optimize that and try to find. We're targeting really the 1%, and we've been able to leverage filters and audience targeting within paid search to find those successfully. So we will add that to our marketing mix and hope to maybe reconvene with this group in the future and report out on how that went for us.
Great. Well, obviously, we have to talk about social, right? Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, even Snapchat. The list goes on. What social platforms are you doing? And Agita, I'll start with you. Where are you recommending, and what are you finding to be the most engaging for your clients?
That's a great and very full question. So I get asked this almost on a daily basis. A new platform comes out and the client naturally wants to be on that, right? They don't want to miss the bus. But what I think really the platform that we would select for each of our clients and hotels would really depend on the target audience and the brand image and the marketing goals. So we always like to take a little step back and really think, what is the marketing message that we're trying to convey and how we're going to tailor that marketing message to kind of fit the audience. And then we kind of segment and look, where is our audience already engaging in what platforms, right? Whether that's Instagram, Facebook. And naturally, we want to be on the platforms that our target audience is already engaging in order to be on top of their minds and in front of them, right? So when it comes to different social media platforms, we still use very heavily Facebook. Facebook is really great. They have, wide demographic reach, great ability to run different campaigns, build brand awareness, and run targeted ads. In Facebook target audience, when we're talking about the age, right, it kind of steers a little bit older. When I say older, most of the target audience on Facebook is 35 plus. Versus Instagram, when 18 to 35-year-olds consists of 62% of the audience there. And Instagram is a super highly visual platform, and we use it to really showcase different aesthetics, amenities, guest experiences of the hotel. And then LinkedIn is a great platform that we use to engage with corporate clients, in event planners, and highlight and showcase, hotels' business and event facilities. Our key strategy, though, on using each platform is really aligning with the client's strategies and marketing objectives, right? And we're evaluating how each platform really helps to show a positive ROI. And this really data-driven approach allows us to make informed decisions and allocate the resources to be most effective and provide the most significant impact on each platform.
Thank you. That was a great answer. Chad, obviously Facebook and Instagram for all those reasons that Agita just mentioned, but I believe you were one of the few in our research that's actually using TikTok. Is that right? And how's that going so far?
Yeah, so and just to piggyback on what Agita said, we've had tremendous success targeting on Facebook and Instagram. We have different tactics organically for our different audiences and for our different properties and experiences that we offer. And the meta advertising platform has allowed us to really zero in on even particular neighborhoods for our targeting and finding those audiences that want to engage with our content. And yes, and I will say we have dipped our toe into the waters that are TikTok. We are trying to understand and craft a strategy. What our strategy was post some content very similar to reels that we post on Instagram, and start understanding how our audience on TikTok would engage with that. And we've had some carryover from Instagram to TikTok, building our audience that way. We've had some great engagement on some of our content. Now we're at the stage where we need to figure out why and what works and what we want our brand, how we want our brand to be represented on TikTok. We want to be very sensitive to that. Our brand is not silly and kitschy. Our brand is sophisticated luxury, and we want to provide useful content for our prospective guests via the TikTok channel.
Awesome. Well, great. I think we would be amiss if we didn't talk a little bit about influencers, content creators, and the like when it comes to social. So I'm curious, and I don't know, Meaghan, do you have any experience working with any influencers or content creators with SENSEI?
Yeah, absolutely. I think probably most of us that are in the luxury space today, operating hotels and resorts, we probably get the direct messages on the regular, right, from the influencers and the content creators looking to come for, hopefully a comp stay and sell the dream to their followers, if you will. So I would say, at SENSEI, obviously, we are very selective in who we partner with. I would say we've had great success definitely with content creators. And I think that's always a nice kind of nimble way to work with new young creatives to, capture imagery and video for your guest experience. So we definitely, do that on a fairly regular basis. I would say a couple, times a year, we'll get, content creators out. As far as the influencers go, I think it, ultimately we're looking for the ones that kind of are aligned with our brand philosophy. So since we are going after that, again, sophisticated luxury, but interested in wellness, interested in kind of the fitness, the nutrition, the mindset trends, those are the influencers that, tend to kind of resonate most with us. We're not going to necessarily go with like a fashion or a shopping influencer, or even just your straight travel influencer, but someone who can, come and really tell that first person experience about, what they are walking away with and what they're learning after a stay at SENSEI.
Awesome. So I got the brand new iPhone and a new baby. Are you saying there's a chance? Should we talk afterwards?
Well, maybe we're adults only, sadly. So babies, okay. But maybe you and your wife can come out.
Wonderful. Agita, I'm sure you've got some experience in this realm too. So I'm curious to hear how you've worked with influencers.
Absolutely, and I can just echo whatever Meaghan already mentioned. Definitely, it's very important to evaluate each influencer and just to make sure that strategically that influencer kind of makes sense for the brand and for the company. So, when we get multiple requests a day for each of the properties that we manage, but it's really important to evaluate the whole social media profile of that influencer, of course, making sure the aesthetic is there, their engagement is there. We want to make sure that they answer their public comments, they engage with their own audience. We always request their audience metrics as well. So, we can see kind of what age, gender, where their audience is coming from, and see how that is aligned to the target audience that we're going after. And we definitely want to make sure that the influencer's brand and influencer's messaging kind of aligns with our hotel brand as well. For us, we usually prefer influencers that have, exposure and audience in travel and hospitality and lifestyle industry. What we found with the influencers is super important to be very set clear objectives with the influencer and clear parameters, what you want them to do. So for example, we like to usually align each influencer with different either campaign or marketing objectives. So for example, if we want to promote, cabana rentals for the upcoming summer season, right, we naturally would ask influencer to create content, around that, right? So then we can leverage that content to promote our marketing objectives. We also create very detailed contracts with each influencer. And we've seen that has actually worked tremendously well. If we're not really specific in asking, we need 20 images, we need 1 permanent post, we need 5 reels. If we're not really asking that, it's very vague, and sometimes we're not really getting what we thought we're getting. So definitely having a contract with a set guidelines and things that you are going to be receiving. There's no in between, right? That's all set clear. And most brands right now really have these standard agreements already in place. And also that agreement should have some sort of, terminology about the image usage. So for example, if that content creator or influencer has created some wonderful images, you want to make sure that you have the capability to use those images, and whether you're, future marketing social media posts, or maybe putting on your website, right? And so on. And again, when it comes to influencers, it's tricky. How do you measure ROI when it comes to an influencer, right? There are different ways. Sometimes we would be tagged in collaborative posts, and from there we can definitely see the engagement, the impressions, the likes and shares and all that. Sometimes we would be asking influencer for the snapshot of the stats afterwards, or if the influencer would be provided like a link where we're promoting some percentage off or certain package, and then on the back end we can definitely see how many actual reservations this influencer has given us. Yeah, so that's all about influencers. I think it's a very good strategy to use influencer to get that genuine content, but you have to be very specific with each influencer that you're using.
Yeah, great advice there for sure. And none of us are lawyers, but definitely a good agreement helps for sure. I'll stumble my way through some legalese, but that's about as far as I'm going to go. So you also brought up a great, I think a good segue that I just trampled over, but we'll go back to it anyways. Data-driven insights, right? So a lot of properties out there, especially smaller, more independent properties, have challenges when it comes to sort of closing that loop between whether that's an influencer or a marketing campaign, all the way, even if it's online, all the way to a reservation, right? And so I'm curious, Chad, have you gone through this and those pains, and have you overcome them, and any tips or tricks to share along the way?
Absolutely have experienced pain there, Doug. I think as everyone has, and data is everything to us. And about a year and a half ago, we really came to a decision that we needed to level up our ability to measure and every interaction and really understand our customer better. So getting things like Google Analytics 4 in place and all the way through, revenue tracking back to source and medium has been really, really helpful for us to understand where to spend our money effectively, but also understanding that, we're some of the traffic that comes in is going to be very top of funnel. Our traffic from social is very top of funnel. We typically don't see conversions in that first attribution from social. So what we're working on next, we kind of have the first step in place. What we're working on next is really understanding our customer's journey from first visit, what that attribution was, when they return, and how we can measure the conversion there. And that's across everything. That's online bookings, phone calls. And I know we'll get into a little bit of that later, but it has been wonderful. We are light years ahead today of where we were a year and a half ago because of our focus on data as an organization. And I think that is the key, having everyone buy into the reason why we need to put this investment in place and why we all need to be thinking about measurement instead of, spending on various marketing channels and hoping for the best. It's spending, measuring, optimizing, iterating, and then deciding whether or not to abandon a specific channel or optimize that channel and change messaging. So a multi-level, multi-tier approach to data and measurement has been very effective for us, and we have definitely changed for the better as an organization.
That's awesome. Yeah, someone smarter than me, I think, said something along the lines of every modern brand today is a data company, right? And we all just need to deal with it in the best way possible, with, of course, maintaining privacy, of course. Agita, any other thoughts around what Chad was just talking about and challenges that maybe your clients have faced in that area?
Absolutely. And more speaking from social media perspective here and from social media agency perspective. So the ROI, direct ROI sometimes is very difficult to track, as Chad mentioned, right? That's why you need to look at different analytics from different data sets to really figure that out and put that puzzle together and see how it all works as a customer journey, right? How does that all work together? So there are various ways how social media creates the value, and then some of them really it's very difficult to measure ROI, right? So for example, increase in sales, leads, conversions, that's kind of easier to track. Social media also can create savings from direct bookings instead of third-party bookings. Social media can grow brand awareness, build loyal audience, discover and mitigate different crises. So we're doing a lot of social listening. So it's kind of very difficult to provide ROI on that. Social media also can resolve different customer service issues, right? If the customer forgot something, the guest left something in the room, there's a billing question, they come through social media and ask for help with sorting different things out. And also social media can really improve not only guest satisfaction, but also improve loyalty and job satisfaction for your employees. So, right, so there are different ways how social media can create value. So it's important really to understand what are your main things that you want to focus on and try to figure out how you can track results and how you can essentially track some sort of ROI on that. So it's interesting stat that I've seen about a year ago, right? It said that social media messaging needs to be delivered 5 to 7 times. 5 to 7 times you need to see something about the property in order for you to make a decision to book, right? So imagine that. So you have to be constant with your messaging. So it's not really as immediate as you would like to. So that's why it's also a little bit tricky to track. You can definitely track with social media, some midterm progress, right? What involves different impressions, reach, clicks, follower growth, messaging, depending on what your objectives are, and then kind of speak with your revenue team and then marry that into different campaigns that you are trying to post. Sometimes also what we've used are UTMs. So those are like the short codes you can add to links, which clearly going to show that the traffic is coming from social, is coming from certain campaign that you're using that link. So that helps if there's capability of that of the client to create those UTMs. We always request that. That makes things a little bit easier, but there are different steps. I guess there's not one approach that ROI could be really measured, but there's, again, as Chad mentioned, different analytics and different steps that you need to evaluate that, you're moving in the right direction. Yeah,
of course, lots of good thoughts there. We're talking a lot about digital, and I run a digital agency, so I kind of am a nerd. But this is the high-end luxury world, right? And so there's a value to physical things, and for offline experiences, of course, is what we're trying to drive these guests to. So I'm curious, Meaghan, call tracking and some of I think you spoke earlier about some of these experiences being very tailored and unique. And I'm still getting my iPhone ready to jump on that. But are you measuring calls and other offline activities as well?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, you kind of hit the nail right on the head there. Because our experiences are so tailored, you're only gonna get so much from the booking engine and the website. We see, a large percentage of our guests actually picking up the phone and wanting to kind of talk to that reservations agent. Maybe they're trying to decide, do I want to do, the 3-night guided wellness retreat, or do I want to do the 5-night rest and recovery program? They really want to hear about, who is the team? What are the credentials? What is, the food at the restaurant gonna, be like? How is the meal gonna be planned out for me? And, oh, by the way, I want to bring some friends and rent a villa, and, what other, kind of amenities are available, right? So I think for us, we see great success in our full funnel, kind of trying to get people to actually pick up the phone, right? So obviously, I think, a lot of hotels we see using paid Google search, like the click to call functionality, but we've even taken it a step further to kind of look at various programmatic and digital display vendors who can do really dynamic units, right? Where you can actually click straight from the banner to get to that reservations line. So I think integrating it into our video plan, and recognizing that, at the price point that our guest is paying for, a minimum 2-night stay at either one of our properties, being able to kind of set up specific phone numbers for each campaign and each channel that dynamically update on the website, and then be able to actually track the volume and what's happening, at the tail end of those conversations, has been super effective, for our advertising strategy at large. Because, before it used to just be, okay, great, they called, what happened at the end, right? We have to be able to kind of attribute revenue to those phone calls, and know which channels they're coming from.
Awesome. That's great. Wonderful insight there. And I think, on that note of talking about measuring success, one of the things that we look at, and I'm kind of curious to get some thoughts from all of you, is the difference in conversion. So like for us, a heavy conversion might be somebody coming in and making that reservation, putting that credit card down and booking. But lighter conversions for us are going to be things that are going to be like indicators and some key metrics that might level up at some point to indicate that someone, a visitor to the website, or is going to then convert later on. I'm curious, do you use that sort of approach, and what sort of lighter conversions or other KPIs are you using? And Chad, why don't I start with you on that question?
Yeah, absolutely. So we definitely have our event tracking set up and understanding what people are doing on the website, measuring those soft conversions, whether that's a brochure request, whether that's starting a booking. We have abandoned cart retrieval methodology set up as well. But, phone calls for us, interesting. Just I wholeheartedly agree with what Meaghan said. Only about 30% of our reservation confirmations happen through our booking engine. 70% of our reservation confirmations happen via phone call. And so working with a dynamic phone number provider that we integrate that into different channels, source medium, where that phone number changes and is dynamic, so we can measure that by source and medium, the incoming calls. And then we have that all funneling into our Microsoft Power BI data dashboard. So we can look at geos that are completing a soft conversion, whether that is an initial phone call to ask some initial questions or filling out a brochure request. We even just look at somebody who stays on the site longer than site average, or looks at more pages than the typical site average behavior, and display messaging to them. We think that's a good time to ask for data. Fill out a form, we'll send you a free brochure, that type of thing, because they've showed intent and that they're looking for something. So yes, we are all about, we know how important the actual conversion is at our price point to get a booking, but we also know the steps along the way. And I just add to the importance of leveraging our CRM. So every lead that comes in, whether that's a brochure request, an initial phone call, those are inputted as leads, and our reservations team has the ability to follow up and nurture that lead through the process as an opportunity in our CRM. And so that provides wonderful data to us as well, to see not only which areas are booking, but what those conversion rates look like from the soft conversion to the actual conversion. It really helps us even to narrow down our geographic marketing efforts, to understand that people in a certain geographic area, zip code, neighborhood have a higher propensity to convert after a soft conversion. So we're really kind of we're in the throes of that right now, but we're starting to get to that next level of not just surface level data and taking looking at a normal metric that you would see in an analytics platform and making a decision. We're going 2-3 levels deeper than that to really understand who our customer is, what they want, and how we can connect with them.
That's great. That's awesome. Love data. Gotta love it. Sounds like you've gotten some really good insights there. Meaghan, are you doing things like that over at SENSEI, and what are important to you from those lighter or softer conversions, if you will?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say kind of before the booking journey, we are definitely looking at email subscriptions and kind of lead acquisition. The more we can filter that, I mean, for instance, our property in Palm Springs, we have kind of premier golf, tennis facilities. And so we're even trying to kind of get to the layer of like, what about this particular location are they interested in? So, similar to what Chad was saying, that when we do email marketing campaigns and we kind of build out that onboarding flow, once someone comes into our database, that we can tailor the content as much as possible. We do that kind of more in an automated email fashion. It sounds like maybe Chad has his reservations team reaching out. So it depends, if it's a seasonal retreat that's just happening for a week, of course the sales team will get involved. But if it's, we see someone coming in, they're interested in tennis, they have a different kind of onboarding educational email series that goes to them versus someone who's maybe more interested in spa. So I would say email is a big one. Obviously, we're looking at, availability checks and kind of what that referral rate looks like to the booking engine from the website. And I think in general, I always like to be, kind of have that baseline understanding of where our website engagement metrics look at large, right? So, what's our bounce rate looking like? How much time on site are they spending? How many pages are they consuming? Those are all really good indicators of whether or not, we're reaching a qualified audience. And I think, I obviously keep our advertising agency accountable to that when it's looking at the digital channels. but I've even been able to take it a step further, with our PR efforts, right? My PR team knows that when they get different articles at the end of the month, I'll pull all the referral sources, and we will actually look at, well, what is a Condé Nast Traveler versus a Travel and Leisure versus an Organic Spa versus a Forbes, right? What is the engagement of a reader coming from those specific outlets, and how more likely are they to convert on the back end? So we take definitely a holistic approach to, how all of these engagements add up to hopefully a booking at the end.
Awesome. That's wonderful. It sounds like everyone's staying in line, hopefully, and you're able to get the team all around the data and in a meaningful way to grow the brand more efficiently and bigger and better, right?
That's the goal.
So I think you also touched on a point there a little bit about like content and personalization and stuff like that. And I want to kind of end the talk here a little bit talking about some emerging trends, like what's coming up, what are we excited about, what's keeping us up at night, and not just my newborn, but things like AI, for example, right? I mean, love it or hate it, it's here. It hasn't taken over the world yet. But what role do you think technology like AI, for example, will play in the future of luxury travel, whether that's from the exploration and research component all the way into the guest experience? Chad, what do you think?
Yeah, and you're right, Doug. It's something that I think needs to be embraced for sure. We've dabbled with AI in terms of content creation, just in terms of trying to understand, how if AI can match brand voice and personalization and messaging that resonates with our audiences. But what I'm really kind of most concerned about and looking forward to leveraging is the zero-click search trend that is coming. I don't know how many have installed the generative AI plugin in Chrome. That's in my Chrome, and I see every day when I search that generative AI snippet is pushing organic results down. So thinking about how to make sure content related to not just our property, but who we are and how people search for us is vitally important. An example, somebody that Googles Montana luxury resorts, I want to make sure that our property shows up in the generative AI snippet, to make sure that wherever we show up in organic searches below, that we do show up in the kind of that first view above the fold in those searches, whether they be on mobile or desktop. So that's what I'm most concerned about, making sure that we're ready for that, making sure that we're generating content on our website that AI is pulling from, so we get included in that type of content. And then, you mentioned for the guest experience, we're talking about that right now, just in terms of leveraging our CRM and AI to be able to customize experiences for especially our repeat guests. When they return, we want to understand, well, what did they order last time? What did they do last time? What resonated with them last time? Making sure that we have good data going in that we can export out to our operational team so that we can really surprise and delight our guests when they come back with quote unquote remembering certain things that happened during their previous stay, and being proactive in providing those small touches and experiences for them. We feel very confident with the data that we're putting in now, that it will benefit us, 6 months from now, a year from now, 5 years from now, in terms of our ability to quickly cull that data and present it to our operations team and set them up for a successful engagement with our guests when they're on our property.
Good stuff. Meaghan, AI, any thoughts, anything to add to that?
Sure. So yeah, I think we're already seeing it. I mean, I saw in MMGY's fall portrait of the American traveler. I mean, they're already estimating based off of their survey data that 34% of active leisure travelers in the US are already using ChatGPT or similar AI systems to plan trips. So I think, when you look at that, when you kind of consider what Chad just mentioned, even when you think about, kind of all of the smart devices that we even have in our home, right? The Alexa, and kind of this move towards, audio search. It really makes you kind of ponder what this landscape's going to look like, in a year, 2 years, 3 years from now. I mean, I think we're all having great success with paid Google search, but how much of our budget are we going to be putting towards, a paid AI search, or, something along those lines, in the future? I think similar to Chad, we are definitely considering, how this kind of factors into guest experience as well. Sensei is unique in that we have a technology and a product discipline and a wellness science team at headquarters. So I think, smart wearable devices, those are already integrated into our guest experience. We mail Whoop devices to, many of our guests before they come, so we can collect baseline, sleep and recovery and strain data. And, you see a lot of companies within that tech sector already integrating AI into their applications, right? So Whoop has done it with kind of their chat bots. I think, we will see how this kind of makes its way into our wellness landscape, and how helpful I think it can be for health coaching and being able to generate timely responses to our guests to, support them on their ongoing wellness endeavors once they return home.
I don't think you would enjoy looking at my sleep data lately. It would probably make me cry. Agita, thoughts on AI? Where are you seeing the future of this, and in its role in what you're doing?
Absolutely. There's so many exciting things out there. We're paying really close attention to many of them. One of the tools that we want to onboard for some of our clients are the virtual chat bots that can respond to the language of the choice, right? So it's just so much easier for communication perspective, right, is to reach out and respond in whatever language the customer would prefer. Also, from agency perspective, of course, we're looking the ways to, even write social media captions, or help to edit our videos, or, edit our content that we capture during the site visits. However, with all that, we're super careful, right? As Meaghan and Chad already mentioned, you need to understand that, you need to train even the ChatGPT or train these platforms in order for you to really get that unique voice of each property, right? You don't want to lose your uniqueness and be too general at the end. So yeah, there are a lot of exciting tools out there. We're definitely paying close attention to most of them.
Great. Well, this has been great. Thank you all for joining me and being a part of this webinar. And thank you all for joining us online as well. And just wanted to close things up, and just to mention to everyone as well that, if you're interested in other webinars, you can go to the International Luxury Hotel Association's website and look at previous ones on there as well. It's called the ILHA.com. I think I got that right. But I need more coffee. And under events, you can see those. And if you did enjoy this and this event, please share it as well on social. And thank you again, Chad, Agita, Meaghan, for joining me today. And have a wonderful rest of your day, everyone.